our town. Dorothy Thompson speaking to you today from the Auditorium Theater downtown. And theater is in fact the subject of our show. We'll hear about a new production coming soon to our town. Inside to talk to director Andrew Sharp about the Community Players Summer Theater production, which is the familiar classic Heidi.
Andrew Sharp, you're the producer of the upcoming show Heidi. Take it away.
Yeah, Heidi is a story that was written by Johanni Spiri, and it was published back, I think, in 1880 and 1882 in German. And it tells the story of a young girl who is first sent to live with her grandfather, who is a very cantankerous kind of individual. But she wins him over, and she loves living in the mountains in the Alps in Switzerland. One of her aunts shows up and takes her away, and she's living in Frankfurt to be a companion to a girl who lives in Frankfurt who is disabled. She's in a wheelchair. And she gets very, very homesick and wants to go home. And that's basically the story that we have. So.
Okay.
This play that we are doing was written, an adaptation in 1980. And I think that there could be several because it's no longer copyrighted. And I mean, if we had time, we could have written our own, but we didn't. So we're doing this version from the Pioneer Drama Service.
So that is, you can augment and cut is at will?
Well, now that we've bought this version, we've got to do this version.
See. Okay.
But if we hadn't bought this version and presented this version, we could do our own and do whatever we wanted to.
Okay. So that looks fairly short.
Yeah, it's not a long play. I would hesitate to put a time on it because it's hard to say exactly. But it's not going to be a long play. I would guess about an hour and a half.
Okay. Intermission.
And we're going to do it at the Copper Top. Mm-hmm. We're renting the Copper Top from UW Platteville at the moment is the way things are set up. And so it's actually going to be out at the Copper Top, and we will go out there July 3rd. Right now we're at the City Auditorium where we rehearse and have done the first rehearsals for our shows for quite a while. For years. I remember back when we were doing West Side Story, the initial rehearsals were here, and we only moved like in July, the same as we're doing now.
I didn't know that. Okay. So you can get all the blocking done. Obviously, the square footage isn't exact.
Right. You do the blocking. It might work better because we're moving to the Copper Top, and the stages are comparable sizes, comparable. When you go out to the high school, the stage is much bigger, and so you've kind of got to redo the blocking.
Yeah. And then the lights obviously can't be done until you go to the campus.
Right. Until we're out at the campus, there's really no point in doing anything with the lights. Yeah.
Well, I think the campus it's kind of like wearing your favorite slippers. You know where everything is.
Right.
Every square inch. It's easier for Brandon also probably who's doing the lights.
Right.
And the set, is it extensive and fancy?
We're still working on what the set is going to be, but there's basically three sets. The mountains of the Alps, the town square in Frankfurt, and then the study of the home that Heidi is living in there in Frankfurt.
All right. Okay, so can you build the set of the home? Can that be pretty substantial?
Yeah, I think that it can be. We'll have to see how we're going to work it. I could see a drop in front of the stage for the mountains, and then lift that up, and behind it is going to be the town square, or in front of it. We'll have to work that out, but
Yeah.
we could make a substantial study. It's going to have to be reasonably substantial because it's got to have 2 working doors. So you've got to build a fairly substantial set to anchor the 2 doors.
Is this the home of who again?
It's the home of
whom?
Dr. Sesseman, who is a doctor in Frankfurt. It's his daughter that's in the wheelchair. Her name is Clara. And
So it's quite a nice home.
yeah, he's a substantial person in the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's going to be fancy, and
Well, we'll see how fancy we can get it.
I think the fancier the better. Have a couple grandfather clocks and chandeliers if possible. Anything else? Let's see. Well, who's in the cast? Who's the?
Allison Adams, who is a young lady from the Blue River area, is playing Heidi. Andrea Nundahl, who is somebody that's been in a lot of shows here, is playing Clara. Dina Riley is Mrs. Rottenmeier. Rottenmeier, yes, that is her name and that is her character.
Well, we'll just say it's a German, Austrian something name.
Right. Mrs. Sesseman, who is Dr. Sesseman's mother, is Sharon Sales. Who's been in a lot of shows
yeah.
here. Dr. Sesseman is Michael Ames, who has been in a lot of shows here. Tanette is the French maid, the kind of sassy French maid, and that's Annabeth Sprecher. Our stage manager is Talina Sprecher. It's being directed by Amy Rohn and Daniel Carlson. And I think Louise Murphy is going to do the props. Brandon Merkel is going to do the lighting and probably be tech director thrown in. And we'll see. I think that Amy's father, we were planning on having him build the set, but hopefully there'll be several people that can help build the set.
Maybe you'll find some past sets to recycle.
It's possible, yeah.
Flats.
We got to open the trailer up where we have a lot of our stuff and get in there and see what's in there.
Okay, now costumes don't sound complex.
No, I'm sure we've got costumes that will cover this. We have essentially the resources, the stuff that we have here, but they're not. It's not like you have to make a Tin Man suit for the
Yes.
the Tin Man of Oz or something. It's just kind of normal clothing, and of course we've got a lot of period clothing. So
Normal makeup.
normal makeup, right?
Okay. Okay. I know that the campus, when you fly flats and lights, that it's quite limited, the height, whatever it is. I don't know how many feet.
Right.
But this is much higher,
Right.
way higher.
This has got the best fly system, which is what we call the area above the stage. Out of the campus, the high school in here, this one's definitely the highest, so it's the easiest to take things up and hide them. This, of course, was built as a vaudeville stage, and you had to have the ability to do that because you have one act right after another. So you do the drop for one act, and then when they're done, you pull that up and maybe drop for another act, et cetera. So,
All right. Well, okay, you said that a couple years ago, or we had talked off camera about the murder at Coppersmith,
the murder at Coppersmith Inn.
and you didn't have to fly any flats.
No, that was a set that was built by Dwayne Rose, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yep.
And it was just one set, and so there was nothing flying in or out.
Okay. Is there an orchestra pit here, like you'd
There,
have?
as I understand it, yes, there used to be an orchestra pit right here, and it was taken out and the stage was built out over it. I believe if you go down into the basement, there's like a hole that you can look through and kind of see the vestiges of the orchestra pit that was here before. Again, this was built for vaudeville, and so they had orchestras for vaudeville, and so you would have had to have had an orchestra pit here.
Okay, and when's the productions? What days?
The production is going to be the last weekend of July, and then we will have more shows the first weekend of August. So last weekend of July, first weekend of August. Tickets are only $5. $5.
$5. You said $5, yeah.
Right, to
Good.
get in. Again, at the Copper Top Theater.
It's a good rated G family show.
Very rated G, yes.
I've seen some of the movie versions.
Right, the main one is with Shirley
Shirley
Temple
Temple.
from 1937. Yeah.
Okay. Then there have been some versions made in other countries too.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
That makes sense.
I would think there would be a German version. So.
Yeah. Well, good. I will stop by again and get some more info and some more video.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Andrew.
you.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Happy Father's Day this coming Sunday to all the dads in our audience. And remember that Thunderfest is coming up in just a couple of weeks. Come back next week and every week to see what's going on here in Richland Center.